Alright guys, quick update video. Just wanted to talk about some news and stuff that's in the pipeline. So the first thing I'm going to do is address the video that I uploaded over the weekend because it seemed like there were some people that did not like that content. Lost some subscribers over that, but I will just say this. I interview both sides, right? I lean to the right on a lot of issues. There are some things I will cross on, which is infrastructure, right? I like infrastructure. I'm an infrastructure geek. I mean, I was just up at the Hoover Dam. This is a video that they provided me from the Bureau of Reclamation, doing an interview about the water crisis, power, all that kind of good stuff, right? So I'm a huge infrastructure nerd, so I like covering this type of stuff, and I can see efficient ways of spending money on infrastructure. What the Dems have proposed with the budget increases doesn't make sense. Marissa Hamilton states this very well, where if Prop 208 fully funded education, then why is this group asking for more money from the Arizona legislature for additional education funding beyond the scope of Prop 208? And shouldn't the message be that education is fully funded with 208? And why won't this group state the dollar amount that's asking for the increase for what is the definition of fully funded? They won't state that dollar amount. So I agree on that. If we have given them money, and I think I voted no on 208 anyways, if that was the one last year, but either way, if we already gave them money for it and they're misspending that money, well, we need to have audits done to show where they're spending their money, why it got misspent, all that good stuff before we even, you know, go anywhere, right? With that, we shouldn't be just writing blank checks because then you turn into the California High Speed Rail project, which is just corrupt and horribly mismanaged. I think they've gone through at least 10 or so revisions now, added different stops, so it's not going to be any faster than Amtrak or the coaster once it all is said and done, because these trains won't be able to get up to speed, you know, or if they're following track that's within the existing right of ways. Trains can only go so fast on certain curves and and geography. So I don't know if that's the right word, but someone will correct me in the comments. The land, right? If there's a lot of hills, like yada yada, there's like all this engineering stuff where if the land's not right, you're going through a lot of curves. These trains are not going to be able to get up to speed. So horrible use of taxpayer money. I use California as a prime example of government misspending, and I'm thankful I escaped that state. So that's my response to that. There was some things that I agree on, which okay, we need to spend money on infrastructure, like for example, US 93. We need to get that to a full divided highway so that eventually can take the Interstate 11 designation. But there is an efficient way of doing it, which is not wasteful to taxpayers. Once that conversation happens, I'll come to the table. But until then, taking the $2 billion or whatever that we have in state coffers and using existing, that existing revenue stream, just eating that up, so we don't have that much of a gap in the state, or I guess a buffer if you want to call it, right? Probably not the best idea, but I mean, again, I'm more physically conservative. As long as you can spend the money appropriately, I'm all for it. Now, the other thing I'm going to bring up too is the drought. So quick 2 seconds on that. You can see here some video that the Bureau of Reclamation provided me after doing the interview. So that interview will be live in about a week is what I'm estimating, because I still got to edit some stuff. But that's talking about the drought, power consumption at the plant, all that kind of good stuff, because the Hoover Dam is a hydroelectric plant, produces a lot of electricity for the Southwest region. So some good information on that. Also, kind of talk about Alberta and some other sources as well for energy. But a full video on the Southwest region is going to be posted at a later date, talking about San Onofre, Palo Verde, obviously the Hoover Dam, and a couple other big sources of energy in the Southwest region, and why we should build more nuclear, why I feel that San Onofre should be upgraded instead of dismantled, put in SMRs, which are small modular reactors instead. And then I know there's talks because of the drought about adding some more desal plants, and San Onofre was one of the early proposed locations on their list. They have some information online. I'll try to get that for you guys, but that was just information provided to me during the interview. So wanted to relay that, but more information to come, and that video will be on there explaining all that. So look for those videos coming up. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about here is the audit. So it's at 80% now as of this morning. And, you know, we're almost done. We're going to near the end here. We're nearing that finish line. And at the end of this, you know, this Arizona state legislature is going to be able to amend things to make sure that the affidavits filed that were alleging fraud, if Cyber Ninjas, if Cypher, if this group found anything illicit, how do we make it so that doesn't happen again, right? That's all this is going to do. They're not changing the results for 2020. That's what Karen Fann was clearly saying this whole time is, hey, we're not trying to overturn the results. We're not going to pull back electors. I mean, I don't think there isn't even a way for them to pull back electors. Now, a lot of people in the comments are saying, well, yeah, if it was fraudulent, they can pull it back. Well, good luck getting the Supreme Court to rule on that, because they've been a lame duck on all these issues. They won't even hear some cases, right? So the Supreme Court doesn't want to get involved. So, I mean, that's where one of those situations would end up anyways. I mean, I guess if you had the smoking gun, like to say Arizona found something and that was a smoking gun, and someone puts a motion on the legislative floor that says we're going to pull back our electors for 2020, and that creates a cascade effect, that's going to the Supreme Court right away. That's going to go to the Supreme Court, because there is a constitutionality argument behind it, because January 6th is that last date for certifying the electors. But if states come through and say, well, we're decertifying our electors because we found fraud, and actually Joe Biden didn't win our state, it was actually Donald Trump, if that scenario were to play out, that's testing the Constitution right there. That is going to the Supreme Court, and who knows if the Supreme Court would act on it. The way they didn't act on a lot of the cases that were brought up to them during the election time, so prior to that January 6th date. So we'll see what happens. That is a potential outcome, but not the outcome that Karen Fann, Senate President Karen Fann, is looking for at this point in time. It's all about fixing the law so that stuff cannot happen in 2020 that's nefarious. Or sorry, 2022 that's nefarious. Great example is the federal only ballots. So there's about 20 to 30,000 of those, somewhere in that ballpark. And look at the numbers between Trump and Biden for Arizona. Very slim margin. If those federal only ballots were gone, then, and by gone I mean found illegitimate, found illegal, meaning a non-citizen voted, or someone from out of state came in and fraudulently voted on the federal only ballot. So the federal only ballot, you just have to provide like a bank statement or something. You don't have to provide state ID or your voter ID card. It's just you show up, yeah, I live in the state, I live off of this canyon over here, I built a little hut or something. Okay, yeah, okay, sure, here's the federal only ballot, right? There is no proof of residence. So that's what they're looking at fixing in the next legislative cycle. So hopefully that can get implemented before 2022, because that's also going to be the biggest event there too, in terms of the Republicans getting back the House of Representatives on the federal side, and that would basically block any legislation moving forward. But we'll see what happens. But I mean, there are some measures that need to go into place. So hoping the legislature does its job. Senator Townsend's been really good on that. So looking forward to what she's proposing and what some of our other representatives are going to do to ensure that our elections are secure, that they're not just fortified, meaning the state goes in and breaks its own rules, like like Maricopa County did. And not to mention too that there's reports about harvesting and other issues, right, that were brought up, but the county never acted on it. So and now the county's just opposed to the audit, and you wonder why, because they were reported this, well, this stuff was reported to them, and they took no action. So their ass is on the frying pan for that. You know what I mean? If it comes down to negligence like that, you reported this, you didn't investigate it. Would that be, is there some form of dereliction of duty type deal with in regards to our elected officials? Some lawyer in the chat respond and see if that's a legal avenue. But worst case scenario, at least out of what I could think, is to just get voted out. I mean, I would hope some type of criminal charges would be brought against these people if it's if it's found that they did something illegal. But we know worst case, just boot them out of office and make it so they can't run again. But we'll see what happens. But like I said, the audit's moving forward, and we'll see very soon what happens with that. So on that note, guys, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and hit that notification bell because we are shadow banned. You will not see our content. It is very far down on the list now because of YouTube censorship. So the only way you're gonna find our videos is like, sharing it, and subscribing, and also hitting that notification bell. Because if you don't, well, like I said, we are shadow banned. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks, big tech oligopoly. You guys are great. I don't say this often, but Google, you do a great job. Can you like unshadow ban us now? Okay, thanks. Oh, that didn't work. We're still shadow banned. Great. Okay, guys. Looks like you guys are gonna have to just keep sharing the videos and hitting that notification bell because yeah, I can't. It didn't work. I tried. Wajiski is not very nice. So I'm gonna shut off the video now, guys. In this shadow ban content that we live in. So like, share, subscribe, and we're also on Rumble.